Hey, this is your hillbilly historian coming to you from the hills of East Tennessee and Appalachia to bring you truth, justice, and the American way, common sense and logic about American history and what's going on in the world today. Uh, okay, now, good news today. I think we won the Iran war. That's over. Price of gasoline will go down, and the world is a better place because of Donald J. Trump and the United States of America. Look at all the good we done. We prevented the French and English from having to speak German in 1918. We prevented the French and British from having to, and Canadians and Australians from having to speak German and Japanese in 1944 and 45. Is America not great or what? We really know how to take care of business in this country. It is amazing the good that America does. If we could just get the evil Democrats, socialists, Marxists, communists out of the way, America would lead the world into exploring their entire galaxy, plus maybe another galaxy or two, or 10, or whatever. I tell you what, the world's out there and it's waiting on creative people. But the Democrats, socialists, Marxists, communists, all they want to do is suppress creativity. But anyway, today I want to talk about a great American. His name is Adolph Rupp. Adolph Rupp. He was America's greatest coach, basketball coach at the University of Kentucky before the 1960s, before John Wooden and all those great athletes he had, like Gail Goodrich, Lou Alcindor, Bill Walton. Amazing teams he put together there at UCLA in the 1960s and early 70s. Won god-awful numbers of games and championships, and set a record. But before him, there was Adolph Rupp from Kentucky. And Adolph Rupp was hated all over America, especially among the New England Jewish press, Jewish-operated press, and the Jewish colleges up in New England. They wanted to put a mustache on him and call him Hitler, kind of like the Democrats are doing today with freedom-loving conservatives. You're a racist, monotheist, crazy Hitler, Nazi, according to the Democrat Party and the Communists and Marxists over there. But anyway, the Adolph Rupp, he was even portrayed as a racist by Hollywood. You know, they made a movie about that Kentucky Western team that beat Kentucky in the 1966 tournament. There wasn't nothing racist about that shit. Rupp wasn't racist. That was just a coach who had the nerve to start 5 black players in a national championship ball game and win it. And it wasn't because they were black, it was because they were awesome players. They come from the playgrounds of northern cities and went down to Texas Western and played ball down there. And their style of ball was that freestyle, attack the basket method of scoring, aggressive defense, and they were just a better team that day, you know. And Dampier and Pat Riley and those guys just weren't hitting. Uh, I was going to Berea College at that time, and I worked summers up in Kentucky at the University of Kentucky Agriculture Center and at the University of Kentucky Hospital there, named after one of their governors, the Happy B. Chandler Memorial Hospital. I worked there for about 9 months as an aide in surgery, and I didn't do any surgeries or anything. Well, didn't even aid with the instruments or anything. An aide brought the patients down and took the patients to recovery after the surgery was over, and ran errands if I needed. And I was trained to run a heart bypass machine there, and I did that for a while before I started college at Berea. The guy we had actually got a job working with that Blakey guy, or whatever his name was, down in Texas, that was doing all that advanced open heart surgeries. And he actually got a job down there with that really great heart surgeon in Texas. And I took over for him. He trained me to run his machine. And that was scary because I had a bypass machine that pumped blood through the body while the heart was being worked on, and while the heart was being stopped. That's why they call it bypass. And I was plugged up, just a simple 110 AC outlet plugged up, and the wire that I ran over to the outlet, if a nurse tripped over it, pulled it out of the wall, we'd lose a patient unless we could get it going again real quick. But thank God, no accidents like that ever happened, and I was able to do that work. But anyway, I actually at a bar one night sat at the same table, just me and Pat Raleigh. And he was dressed to the nines. He was always a real sharp dresser. And me, I was just a Berea student with a very limited income. And I was dressed very casual. But I didn't know anything about basketball, so I couldn't talk to Pat Riley about basketball. So I said, "You're getting laid tonight, aren't you?" He just kind of grinned. And I asked him what it was like to play for Adolph Rupp. He just had nothing but glowing commendations for the man that led basketball in Kentucky. And when I was at Berea Foundation School in 1958, 59, I was running cross country, and we were running the regionals in Lexington. We always run the state in Louisville, and we were running in the regionals and on a golf course in Lexington. Cold, crisp autumn morning, and this was a year after Rupp had won his 1958 national championship, and our coach got permission to take us to the great Coliseum there in Kentucky. I think the women used to play there, so I don't know if they've torn it down or not, but it was where the great University of Kentucky team played. And we were taken there during one of Rupp's practices, and we got to watch him practice one day for a couple of hours. And after practice, we all went down and shook hands with him. You talk about a Southern gentleman. Adolph Rupp was a Southern gentleman. There wasn't a racist bone in his body. I had a friend I taught school with over in Scott County, Tennessee, who I got out of teaching and went into computer science. But this guy stayed in teaching his entire life, still lives over there. retired, and he said he always hated Rupp because Rupp integrated SEC college basketball. Rupp did not integrate. Vanderbilt integrated basketball. They had 2 black players in 1966, and one of them was very outstanding. He was a starter, very good player. In fact, Auburn, Alabama, and Georgia, all 3 had black players in 1967, 68, and 69. Rupp did not recruit a black until he recruited Tom Payne, 7'1" center, in 1970. That was his first black player. So Rupp did not integrate basketball in the SEC. So my friend was wrong. Hey, he was a hillbilly redneck. What did he know? He was a major in education. You know, they used to have a joke at Berea, you know. I couldn't get the hang of PE, so I'm majoring in education. We used to make fun of education majors back in them days. They were dumber than pet rocks. It appears they still are today, because they don't do any teaching today. They make their students do computer assignments, which comes out of the state in Nashville. Some moron designs the curriculum. And let me tell you, some of the elementary curriculum sucks to high heaven. It is just absolutely idiotic. I did a day up in Elk Valley here in Campbell County, and I could not believe their language curriculum. It sucked to high heaven. It was terrible curriculum. Jesus. And I did a day up White Oak and worked with them in their math curriculum, and that was really good stuff there now. They were really doing some really advanced stuff for 7th and 8th and 5th and 6th graders. But anyway, Adolph Rupp, he had the original Fabulous Five in 1948. That Fabulous Five they had up in Michigan that was all black. The media tried to call them the Fab Five. Hell, they never won a national championship. They were dumber than pet rocks. I remember they had a chance to win a game one time and passed the ball to North Carolina's great player who went on to win 6 national championships with the Bulls in Chicago. He played a little bit of baseball, but very little. He never made it to the pros. That was Michael Jordan. They try to say he's the greatest basketball player ever. I'm sorry. Bill Russell holds that honor and always will. Even somebody like LeBron James couldn't bump Bill Russell out of the top spot. Yeah, Michael Jordan never played. In fact, you know, there's only one person that played professional basketball. He played with the Celtics, and then he pitched for the Detroit Tigers, Major League. And he went on to become a movie star. His name was Chuck Connors. His most popular show was The Rifleman, but he played some good roles in some great movies like Big Country. He had a great role in that, and he played it perfectly. Played it to the hilt. He was an absolutely great actor, I thought. He just never really got the leading roles. And then when television started bumping tickets, people quit buying tickets, staying home and watching TV. He played in that show, The Rifleman, for years and years, which was a very entertaining show, and people liked it. He was a good actor. He pulled it off. But anyway, Adolph Rupp had the original Fab Five back in 1948. They went undefeated and won a national championship. That was back when you had to be invited to the national tournament. It was an 18 tournament. You had to be invited. Well, they went through everything like those Salt Silhouette woman. They just won everything in 1948. Then they got uninvited. In 1949, they weren't even invited. They were undefeated, SEC champs, and they were not invited to the national tournament. There was such an uproar about all that the rules were changed. So conference champions were automatically invited from then on. Of course, today they got so many dang teams in the NCAA tournament. You think they'll just invite them all. I think there's 76 teams now in the NCAA men's tournament, 64 in the women's. But it makes for a great tournament, a lot of great games, a lot of playoff, and a lot of money for the NCAA. That's mainly what they're after, is the money. But anyway, after they got automatically invited, they went undefeated in 1950 and 51, won the national championships in 50 and 51. And those five blacks up in Michigan, they called the Fab Five, never won a national championship. They were great ball players. They really were. But they just were not as well coached as a Rupp coached ball team. Rupp, my understanding is his team sometimes in practice would handle the ball on offense 3,000 times without a single turnover. That's the kind of discipline he had on his team. And when they got beat in 1966, Hollywood tried to say that he made a racist comment, called them the N-words and all that. And that's false. He never did that. Pat Riley, Dante, the whole team said that never happened. He never referred to them with the N-word, never. He talked about their skills and abilities and what Kentucky had to do to beat them. But they lost, I think, by 7 points. The team was just too powerful that day. Of course, Western Kentucky had only lost one game all year. And they were a great team, one of the greatest teams in American history of basketball. And those players were great men, too. They really were. They all graduated from college. They didn't play that much pro ball. They did play a little, but most of them went back to El Paso, that part of the country, and had fruitful, productive lives. That Texas Western team was a great bunch of boys. And they just had a better day than Kentucky did in spring of '66. And they just outplayed Kentucky. And but anyway, Adolph Rupp, one of the greatest Southern gentlemen to ever live, and he was 100% a Southern gentleman. He greeted every one of us at his after his practice. He let us watch his practice. Most coaches would not allow outsiders to come in and watch their practice, but he let us watch for a couple hours, and then he shook each one of our hands spoke to us and everything. He was just a really, really great Southern gentleman. And any Hollywood asshole or any uh, article writer for a newspaper or whatever that claims that he was a racist is a lying lowlife, part of what Trump calls the fake news. Because Adolph Rupp was a great, great American who will go down in history as one of the great coaches of basketball until John Wooden came along and had all those great players there at UCLA. And I think they won 10 national championships. And I think their last win was against Kentucky. And it wasn't that close a game. Kentucky rallied, but UCLA was able to stop the rally. And they held Kentucky off and finished, they won by 7 or 8 points, I think. And won their 10th national championship. But Bill Russell, he has 11 national championships. And he has more championship rings than he has fingers. Bill Russell was the greatest basketball player of all time. Number 6, wore the green in Boston. Was a great, great civil rights advocate. He stood up with Muhammad Ali when they took away Muhammad Ali's boxing championship, and he had to come back and earn it the hard way. And along with that great running back at Syracuse and Cleveland, Jim Brown, they all stood up for Muhammad Ali. That whole thing was considered racist, what they did to Muhammad Ali. But anyway, Adolph Rupp, don't forget that name. He was kind of a heavy-set guy, real nice Southern gentleman. Great, great, great coach, great recruiter, great coach. And he will go down in history as one of the greats of all time. He won 4 national championships. In fact, Kentucky has won 8 national championships under 5 different coaches. Get that? They play ball. Good, great ball. And they've actually been in more national tournaments, championship games than UCLA. I think UCLA's only been in 10, and they won all 10. And Kentucky's been in 12, and they've won 8 of them. And one of Kentucky's lost was to UCLA's last championship game. But anyway, Adolph Rupp, great, great American. You can look him up. In fact, I used to own, I think I still own it around here somewhere, a book that he wrote on how to coach basketball. And it's a real old book, came out in the 1950s, and I've still got my copy of that book. But anyway, this is your Hillbilly Historian coming to you from the hills of East Tennessee and Appalachia, bringing you the truth of history, the honest to God truth, justice in the American way, common sense, logic, and integrity is what we stand for here. But anyway, you have a good day.